Next, I read the Tokyo Ghoul series by Sui Ishida. I read both of the first two volumes. And this is about a young man named Ken Kaneki who goes out on a date with this girl named Rize. He comes to learn that she's not your typical girl. She actually happens to be a ghoul. She tries to attack him and eat him. And while this event is taking place, there's this crane accident above them in the building, and some big, huge steel beams drop on top of the two. Now the girl/ghoul is killed, and Ken is taken to the hospital where the surgeons aren't able to contact any family members, and the boy's going to die if he doesn't get a transplant. And this particular ghoul happens to have the same blood type, so he makes the decision to transfer parts from her, not knowing she's a ghoul, into Ken. And now he's become a human ghoul hybrid, and he cannot eat normal food. He craves human flesh. He doesn't know what's going on. And this girl named Toka, who happens to be a ghoul, comes across him, and she brings him to this coffee shop, and they come to learn that he is a hybrid of sorts, and they try to help him. Now he comes to learn that the only thing he can really consume is coffee. Everything else makes him violently sick, and the person who kind of runs the coffee shop, there's sort of like this society below, and he's trying to train him how to, you might say, eat flesh humanely, whatever that means exactly. He gives him like a supplement right now that can kind of keep him alive, but it's only to stave off the hunger, but it won't keep him indefinitely alive. He's going to have to learn to deal with the situation and other things that ghouls can do too. And the books were so fantastic. The storyline, the artwork is great, as you can see within the even just the covers themselves. But that artwork continues throughout. Both really great. I can't wait to continue with this series. The third book is already out. I don't think the fourth is yet, but I gave these both 5 stars. Moving on, I read and also listened to the audio version of Hollow City, the second in the Miss Peregrine Home for Peculiar Children series by Ransom Riggs. Love this series. Definitely you want to see it, visually, to see the crazy imagery in these pictures, these photographs that the author just finds and builds a story around. In this particular one, we follow Jacob and his friends as they are headed to London, supposedly the peculiar capital of the world, where they hope to find a cure for Miss Peregrine, who was seriously injured in the first book. And along the way, they are being pursued by their villains, and they come across a group of peculiar animals, which was interesting. They can talk and everything, and they have other powers and stuff, and there's other, including the dog with the pipe in his mouth. But exciting, adventurous, and just very unique. Love this series. Can't wait to continue with the next book, which is already out. I gave this one 5 stars. Then I read Mary Unleashed by Hilary Monahan. This is the second and final book in the Bloody Mary duology. I absolutely love this. Very creepy. The whole Bloody Mary mythology, you look into the mirror, a candlelit, dark room, and you say Bloody Mary 3 times, and apparently she comes out of the mirror, and that's sort of what happened in the first one. And now our main characters, Jess and her friends are being pursued by Mary in every little reflective surface, and it is just so good. I highly recommend this if you're into any kind of horror books, and just a very, very well written story. I gave that one 5 stars. Then I read Gill, which is a manga by Junji Ito. Generally it's in 2 separate volumes. I got the hardback, which combines the 2 together. And this is about a strange-legged fish. Now our main characters, Tadashi and Kaori, that's the boy and girl, are kind of on a seaside vacation where Tadashi happens to see this strange creature kind of zip by, and he's not sure at first what he sees, and then he reports it, and things start to go crazy from there. Kaori's sort of an annoying character within the book. She's constantly complaining about the strange smell, and these fish really apparently emit horrific smell, but she's just not much to her character. She's just a screaming female within it, and Tadashi's, I don't know, I'm surprised he stayed with her as long as he did, or put up with everything, because she's constantly just nitpicking about everything with this guy, but yeah, they go back to, what is it, the main town? I don't know if it's Okinawa or wherever they end up going back to, but apparently these things are spreading and they're everywhere. Now, most of the book is just, it's kind of drawn out longer than it needed to. I think maybe it would have been okay if they kept it within one volume, but it was dragged out longer than it needed to be. And the artwork, it's pretty gruesome. You know, you get images like this and stuff. Overall, it was a bit disappointing. I gave it 3 stars. Okay, then I listened to an audio entitled The Vanishing by Wendy Webb. This is just a really good kind of gothic ghost story about a young woman. I think her name is Julie. I'm going to go with that. I can't quite remember for certain. But she was recently widowed and left penniless because her husband was caught and then committed suicide after committing like a Ponzi scheme. Now she's being hounded by like press and tax collectors and lawyers trying to sue her for whatever money is left, but there is no money left. She's kind of at her wit's end, not knowing what to do, when a stranger approaches her, offering her a job as a caretaker for his mother, who is an eccentric, aging horror novelist that Julie is very well aware of and a big fan of, and everyone thinks she's dead, so she's kind of been reclusive, hiding out in her Lake Superior estate, and she ends up accepting the position as caretaker and goes off to this remote area. Typical gothic tropes, you know, a young woman on her own, in a mysterious, you know, remote estate that apparently is haunted, and she starts looking into the author and why she abandoned her career and kind of went off and let the world think she's dead. And as she starts kind of doing this sort of investigation, she finds that there are some sort of connections between the woman and her own family. And it was just really good, you know, not fantastic, but overall a good, typical gothic story. Like I said, everything you expect to be in one of these kinds of stories is in it, and it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it a lot. I gave it 4 stars. And then the final book I read was a graphic novel entitled The October Faction. This is by Steve Niles and Damien Worm. I think I first heard about this from Charlie over at Duvet Day Devours. And this is the first volume in a series about the Allen family, and I keep wanting to call them the Addams family because you really see connections as you're kind of reading through this about this family. We have Frederick and I think it's Dolores, the husband and wife, and then we have, I don't know if it's pronounced Jeff or Geoff. It's spelled with a G, Geoff. I'll go Geoff. And Vivian, the sister. And Frederick was like the head of a monster hunting, you know, business, the family business, but he sort of retired and wanted nothing left to do with it, but yet Vivian and Geoff want to continue the family business. And along the way we meet an old family friend who happens to be a werewolf that used to work with Frederick. There is a strange character with a kind of a half-robotic face that wants vengeance against Frederick because of the death of his father. The overall artwork within this is very, very dark. You see it has a whole dark palette to it. But it definitely suits the storyline. It's what drew me to it to begin with. I absolutely loved every bit of it and the looks of it. There's more images of it. And the characters are really intriguing. I like the relationship between the brother and the sister. A bit competitive, but not argumentative like you can be with some families. And I'm curious to see where the rest of the story goes with these other creatures. There's more good images in there, but there's the kind of the boy with the half-robotic face. I absolutely loved it, and I love the kind of Addams Family feel to it, like I said, that it had, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. So those are all the books and audios and things that I did through October. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought of them, and or if not, if you plan on reading them. Let me know too. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.